If you're a pharmacy owner tired of PBMs and insurers eating into your profits, or frustrated by unpaid Medicare advice benefits, explore Waypoint Rx's health and wealth care revolution. Their Pharmacy of Tomorrow model includes owning a Medicare insurance agency right in your pharmacy, owning a direct primary care clinic right in your own pharmacy, and offering a pharmacy 401k benefits program for retention and joining the Prosper Rx community for wisdom sharing. Waypoint Rx is dedicated to boosting the success of independent pharmacies, believing that thriving local pharmacies vitalize communities. Discover how to leverage your influence and transform your pharmacy's future at waypointrx.com. Join today and build your pharmacy of tomorrow. I'm Mike Kelzer. Growing up in my family's pharmacy, life moved fast. There was always something to do, someone to help. But the moments that meant the most to me as I think back were the conversations my dad and I would have about business and life itself. We'd get so absorbed. We'd talk for an hour and it would seem like 15 minutes. This podcast is my way of keeping those memories alive. There's no scripts, no outlines, no fluff, no hidden agendas. It's just real honest talk about the business of pharmacy and sometimes a little more. Let's dive in. Mehrdad, introduce yourself to our listeners.
My name is Mehrdad Hariri. My company called RxConnexion, we're located in Orlando, Florida, and I'm the CEO and the founder of the company. We've been in business since 2005.
Mehrdad, when I looked at your stuff, I know that you're a pharmacist, and I know that you know technology, and that's such a cool combination because some of these companies you see from outsiders, and they've made these technological apps and things for pharmacy, delivery apps and so on. And sometimes you'd scratch your head is like, have you ever set foot in a pharmacy? Do you know that what you're doing here?
I've been a pharmacist for 43 years now. I own several pharmacies in Orlando. I know what business is all about. I know what the pain points are. I know what the pharmacies go through to make a dollar. I've been there. I've done that. And kind of going back to like 2005, when I started expanding my business into all 50 states, I realized what I was missing was technology. So I quickly started developing technological things for my pharmacy to be used for my own pharmacy and not to be sold. And over the 10 or 15 years after that, I started creating more and more and more solutions. And when I sold my pharmacies back in 2016 to a 503A and B compounding pharmacy, I went home and I said, honey, I'm free. And she said, no, you're not. If you're going to stay home, I want a divorce. So I said, you know what? My technology company is there, so I will go ahead and maybe expand on that part. And I called my staff, because at the time I had 2 or 3 IT people working for me in my pharmacy. So to answer your question, everything that I have created comes from having a good, solid knowledge of what pharmacy business is about, what is a PBM, what do you go through, kind of places you're losing money every day, but you wish you had something else to offset those type of losses in income or revenue. So we've kind of tried to put everything together into one package. I mean, if I had to kind of summarize it, sometimes I tell my clients, we're like a Costco of everything pharmacy. You need marketing, you need website, you need digital, you need podcasting, whatever that you need print material, you need SEO, whatever you need, we have you covered.
Mehrdad, tell me about getting into the 50 states and what technology were you missing that you said, I got to build this right away?
I started a program back in 1999. This program at the time, if you recall, 1999, nobody had internet for one thing. Everything was dial-up or you had to run fiber optics to have a fast internet. So I created a program to be able to bring affordability to healthcare and for patients to be able to afford their medications that they desperately need that they couldn't get. And when you were talking about PBMs, You see a little old lady comes in and pays you $10 for hydrochlorothiazide. That thing costs you 10 cents. You're thinking, I made $9. And I started thinking, how can I reach these kind of patients across the country? And I started working with a bunch of nonprofit organizations, hospitals, doctors, and even pharmas. So our clients were actual pharmaceutical companies that they wanted to use our patient assistance program that we created for patients so they'd be able to access these type of medications, either get it for free or low cost or no cost. That's why we needed technology, and because definitely pharmaceutical companies, they didn't want to deal with us if we didn't have technology. They needed to be able to send the files in FTP files or things like that to our pharmacy rather than do faxing, emailing, because it wasn't HIPAA compliant and that sort of stuff. And just basically started from there. The money I was making, I was actually started putting that into the technology because we know that with better technology, we can do a higher volume. And with the higher volume we started off from Florida, and before I knew it, I was in Georgia, in Alabama, Texas. By the time I sold my pharmacies, we were along all 50 states, including Hawaii.
So Mehrdad, you use those things, and then, I'm joking here, but post-divorce talk,
Yeah.
what product came out post-divorce talk when you're like, okay, I don't have the pharmacies anymore, but I've got a little bit more time? What transpired from there, either what product or what direction and so on? Or was it just a growth of it?
Very first thing that it was kind of you can call it low-hanging fruit, was a delivery for pharmacies. Because I remember we not only shipped medication all over the country, but we also delivered within, let's say, 50-mile radius of Orlando area. And we had an extensive group of delivery drivers, cars, and things like that. And I know that was my biggest pain point, knowing where the drivers are, whether the patient got the medication. I mean, you give the patient a $20,000 drug, where did it end up? I mean, the drivers don't care. They don't know what's inside the bag. The very first thing that I tried to tackle was the delivery. And we quickly built a delivery app, which we called the Doorstep RX. And we beta tested it actually in Orlando area with about 38 pharmacies and about 2 pet suppliers. So they delivered dog food and cat food to people's home. I remember in 2018, we did over 25,000 deliveries to about 7,800 households in 11 months. So that was a big achievement. That's what kind of I said, wow, this is great. This is exactly what I wanted. They can take pictures, they can take videos, they can get electronic signatures, know where the driver's at any moment. That's really what I was trying to build. And then it kind of grew from there.
I don't think some companies can understand. Like, for example, you mentioned about tracking a package. I don't think some companies understand the thin to non-existent profit on a prescription. And sometimes you're talking thousands of dollars to make $10. And there's some companies that if you're delivering a pizza or something and the pizza doesn't turn out okay, and it's another $1.50 for the pizza.
Right.
With pharmacy, it's like, golly, if you miss something or lose something or it goes to the wrong house and now you've got to eat it, I mean, there is zero margin for that. So that fine tuning is so important.
Yeah, and not only just losing the medication. I mean, like your pharmacist, think about losing a Duragesic patch. I mean, what's going to happen? Where did it end up? Who picked it up? Who signed for it? I've been there and done that. So when you're talking about your driver calls up and says, yeah, I delivered the package, the patient's on the other phone saying, it's not here. I don't know. Where did he go? I don't know where he went. I had to get him to go back and backtrack to find out exactly where he was, who was it, who signed for it. I mean, the legality just doesn't end with financial. You're talking about your professional responsibility of delivering that controlled drug or whatever it was to the patient that's needed.
That scene reminds me of, like, I don't watch scary movies. I can't take it. But I remember in the past I watched Silence of the Lambs. And you see it a lot in these movies. It's in a lot of hostage movies where you show the camera coming in and you show the person in the house and the camera's coming in, but you realize after the climax of it that it was not the house that they were showing the camera coming in on. There was some confusion, and then it lets these monsters continue. It's like, yeah, Mrs. Smith, we delivered it. It's on your porch, and by the last thing, it's like, it's right behind that shovel on your porch. And then she says, I don't have a shovel and I don't even have a porch. And the same thing here, So Mehrdad, when you made all these additions, did you have to or decide to build your own pharmacy system, or were these more add-ons to help other systems and they were more like APIs and things like that?
So you can just imagine, you have a pharmacy, you've got 4 or 5 pharmacists, you're doing in excess of 1,500 scripts a day, you got all kinds of robotic, you got a call center, you got all these shipping department and everything else. And now you're going to have to keep a tap on all the activity that's going on. You go back 20 years, Mike, there wasn't a whole lot of technology to go around. The website was a novel thing back in 1999 when I started my program. So knowing that these type of things are needed, one thing that I try to focus is, where did I have a problem? Is it the shipping department? Okay, so I went ahead and developed a program with our programmer. How many pharmacies do you know that we had 2 IT guys having their own office inside the pharmacy and one outside as a consultant that would say, okay, you have a problem with shipping? Let's create something that would monitor your shipping and miss any packages and things like that. Delivery, same thing. Even as far as calls, we had, no kidding, we had like 30, 40 people in the queue waiting to speak to our call center. And we had like 15 people answering phones. Not knowing if I knew if one of the sales rep are sitting behind the phone and just basically talking to friends rather than answering phone, we would automatically be alerted of that, knowing that that guy is not doing his job. And we would go and ask him to log in and help out, basically.
Mehrdad, so the things we've been talking about so far have been some of the fringes, very important, but fringes. Did you have a pharmacy system? You don't have to name the name, but did you have a pharmacy system from one of the more big names, and then you were just creating these ancillary things?
That is correct. I'm a data geek. I love data. So I knew there's a lot of data inside your PMS system. And we had one of the largest ones that we use, paying in excess of $40,000 a year in subscription fees to this PMS. And so we knew there's a lot of data in there. And how do we use this data? Let's say now we're looking at the business. How do I grow my business? I'm looking at the data inside my PMS. And I'm thinking, I wish I knew who's my number 1 doctor, right? I can run a report. I'm sure you run across on a piece of paper. It prints Dr. Jones, 13 script, Dr. Smith, 12 scripts, and moves it all down. But no, that's not what I want. I want to get more detail. I want to know who the doctor is, where they're at, location-wise, what did they prescribe, what type of drug, what type of classification of drug they prescribe, whether it be for any kind of condition and so on. I want to see more than just that. And that's just one aspect of it was a physician. Talk about the patients. We had patients in all 50 states. Now, yes, we would put stuff on a heat map and say, we got a ton of people in Florida and Texas and California, the one guy in Wyoming, but how can we penetrate that kind of market? They can't be just in Wyoming. There's only one person that uses us. There's got to be more than that. Just one. I know population is not Florida or New York or California, but there's got to be more people that need help with the medication. So again, we go back to the data. And how do we do that? We capture data that comes in and we'll analyze the doctor, analyze the medication, put the patient demographic and location and everything else, and put them all into some sort of a system that our salespeople would actually make sense and say, hey, I need this doctor that prescribed 1,500 Lasix in Illinois. So let's go and talk to them and get them to send us a prescription because the patients can get them for free. So this is how we kind of looked at everything, data and demographics and different variation of data points that we could get.
The pharmacies had their own PMS. And so part of the message, I imagine, from you guys was, we can work with any of these. Is that basically how you had to approach that?
We can, with our system called Tabula RX, which is one of our programs that we have. With Tabula, you can identify or get a report. Let's say you want to say, hey, I'm in Lansing, Michigan, and I want to see who prescribes Ozempic. Okay, just type it in. It'll tell you who the doctors are, how many patients, how many prescriptions per given period of time. Now, knowing that type of data, that's valuable to you as a pharmacy owner.
Is that your data, or is that from?
No, that's external data. We're getting prescribing data that what the doctors have been prescribing into how many patients, because you got to understand, like, data is very, very expensive. Now, you're talking about Amazon, Walmart, CVS. They spend $100, $200 million a year getting these type of data. Our data is probably, yes, it's about 9 to 12 months old, but does it matter to you? No, it doesn't matter, because, you as a pharmacist, you're filling the same prescription month after month. You buy the same 2,000 Lasix, you buy the same 2,000 amlodipine month after month after month. Your purchases doesn't change. What you dispense really doesn't change from month to month, except in case there's a flu or COVID or something. Yeah, you just dispense 5 Paxlovid or something like that. But theoretically, that doesn't change. What you dispense doesn't change. A physician is the same thing. A physician sees the same patients throughout the year, 2 to 4 times a year, write the same medications day in and day out. And all you need to know is this: what is this doctor's number one prescribed medication? Let's say doctors, internal medicine, family medicine, cardiologist, and you can break them down based on specialty too. Hey, the number one drug is atorvastatin. If you know the doctor, cardiologist across the street from you, he writes 475 atorvastatin. Me as a pharmacist, I would say that's pretty good, because I can just go in there and talk to the doctor, and can I give his patients free Lipitor? I could. What's it going to cost me, $1? Okay, offer that for free. At least this one, you're going to gain money. How do you gain money? When you doctor sends over the free medications, now it's a pharmacist's chance to not only act as a healthcare professional, but as a business person, ask the patient, how are you doing? Are you taking this medication? Are you taking it at bedtime? Are you taking it with food? Talk to them. Maybe offer them a little coupon or something. Here's a $25 gift certificate. Transfer your medication to us. Where do you go? CVS? These are all new patients. I mean, companies like Walmart or CVS, they spend upward of $160 per patient. That's the customer acquisition cost to get somebody in the door. It costed you $1.
Mehrdad, looking back, with your capabilities, is there anything you feel that you kind of missed the boat on, that you had to catch up, or maybe something that you went too heavy on that you probably shouldn't have spent that on? Or has it been a fairly well thought out endeavor?
This is the kind of challenge that's been with us for a few years now, is to be able to not only provide our solutions to pharmacies that are financially strained and they can't do anything because they can't afford $400 a month, $300 a month in subscription every month, or pay $1,500 annual fees to some company to get something, only one single solution to help them grow their business. But can they afford $69, $59? I mean, our goal from the get-go, when I actually started the RxConnexion, was to be able to give these pharmacies, because I saw the need. And kind of like going back to my patient assistance, I could see my patients, there's a lot of people that need help. They need their medications. Same thing with pharmacy. I could see that there's a lot of pharmacies that need help, but they say, I'm like so cash poor that I can't even afford $300. I can't afford $400. I see the value, but sorry, I don't have the time. Frankly, I don't have the money. At the end of the day, there's not much left after DIR fees, audits, and everything, and callbacks, and everything that goes on in pharmacy. There's not much left. And you are thinking, I did all of that for $200 a day, and I still got to pay the technician $150 of it? Then the psychology kicks in. And, if you are cash poor, what do? You start looking for ways to cut back rather than saying, like I learned in business, doesn't matter how cash poor you are, you're still going to have to keep your marketing up. Because if you don't market yourself, you're not going to get any business. You don't get any business, you're not going to grow. It's like a catch-22. And I try to educate my pharmacists, say, trust me, go in there and give it a shot. I mean, I know you can't afford a $1,000 solution, but we're giving you something for $129 a month. And look at what it can do for you. I mean, you can market your pharmacy all hours a day. You can get the data. And then those doctors, those physicians, what they prescribe. You know how to reach them, either by fax or email directly from our platform. Why don't you do the marketing? Yeah, but I don't have any fax for it. Okay, what are you looking for? You looking for print material? We have a complete designers that they can design anything and everything, printed or digital. We even do website. We create websites for pharmacies, a real professional website that doesn't cost you hundreds of dollars a month, one-time fee. And why are we doing this? We're doing this not that our motive is not to make money. I feel bad as a pharmacist. I mean, I got to say, I feel bad for some of these guys.
In pharmacy, I think people have been stung a little bit. If you read marketing books, they're going to say two things. They're going to say, market to your true audience. So if you're selling cigars, your audience is, 35 to 65-year-old men with this income and that kind of stuff. With pharmacy, there's two problems there. The average pharmacy across the board has 0 to 102-year-olds that they're servicing. Then the other problem with that is where some businesses might be able to generally market, pharmacies are in a peculiar position where they could market something and then actually lose money on it if someone comes in with the wrong insurance and things like that. Obviously, we know the problems in broadcast media, that's expensive, but even in social media, that's hard because you may not want those prescriptions coming in. So the beauty of your stuff is to nail it down. I don't know if you can do it per PBM, but at least you can say, hey, this doctor or this drug, that kind of thing. I think that's where that data really comes in handy, is really focusing in on things that are profitable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't have any PBM information other than the ones that we generate or the pharmacies generate on their own, okay? And how do they do that? We actually have a program called BonaRx, which is a custom savings card for pharmacies. And of course, when you talk pharmacy savings card, everybody think a good RX, they start running. Don't tell me about it. And I'm saying, no, man, this is different. Why is this different? And I go back to my story that when I started this BonaRx back in 2008, remember I told you we were in all 50 states. So this guy's at my pharmacy this month and buying 3 months supply of metformin. Is that the only thing this guy takes is metformin? I can't imagine that he takes only metformin and he doesn't have insurance and that's all he takes. So we started thinking, how do we get the information to come to us so we know where people are going? Knowing with HIPAA, private PHIs and all that kind of stuff. So we created a card with a BIN and PCN. We started passing these out in all 50 states, all over the country to every one of our clients. And before you know it, we start getting all these data coming back to us. And I'm like, wow, look at that. I mean, we don't know who the patients are, but we know who the doctor is. They went to CVS, Walgreens, Walmart. Hey, look at this. This one doctor sent 150 metformin to CVS. Yes, it's across the street or whatever, but can we contact this physician? Like I was saying earlier, can we call this doctor and say, hey, did you know your patients that you're sending to CVS, you can get it from us for free? Oh, plus we manage with diabetes.
On that point, I know you can't tell who the patient is, but can you tell that one patient went here for 2 medicines and here for 3 medicines? Do you divide that out even though you don't know who it is, or doesn't it give you what that patient did?
We just know somebody, 95-year-old, went to CVS and bought, let's say, 180 metformin and paid $10 or $12 or $15. And this is what CVS said it was going to cost them, say $200. And using our card, they only paid $10 or $15 or $20. They saved 90%. And this is who the doctor was. We're picking up the age.
But on that question, and I'm not saying you should, you don't know then that same 95-year-old got something else at a different pharmacy. You don't know what that individual person did.
We never get the patient information, okay? And you can't say just because a 95-year-old went to CVS, it's got to be the same 95-year-old that went to Walgreens. Well, we try to tie everything into the provider. Where is the fountain? The fountain or the water comes out as a physician. That's where the prescriptions are coming from. If we can go to the source and grab the water, grab all the data, and find out what this doctor is prescribing, and then with demographic, the age, typically people go to pharmacies that's around their house. You're not going to go to another state to buy your medication. You go across the street, there's Walgreens, CVS, Walmart. So most likely the patient lives within that geographic area, and we break it down so you can see geographically where the patients are. We actually put that on a map for you, on a heat map, so you can see where your patients are coming from. You can look at where the doctors are that are prescribing these medications on the map, like around your store. So that's valuable information. And not only that, but you also get $1.50 every time your card is used at any pharmacy nationwide. Now, not only that, okay, but you could go out and create custom card for your doctors. I mean, you know, the doctor across the street, he trusts you 100%. They love Mehrdad. I mean, you're the guy. Hey, doc, can I make these cards? You pass these out at your office. Can I make these for your office with your logo on it? And the answer is, hell yeah, give it to me. So you make their card custom with their logo. You give it to the doctor. You can put their name or phone number, whatever on the card. Do you think they're going to throw away that card? No, they're going to put it in their lobby, give it to their patients because it's their card.
A lot of doctors have cards anyways in there, and they've only got 6 inches for something, and someone comes in and sets it there. They're not going to mind something being replaced with their own logo on it from a local pharmacy. What is your best marketing for your company? I know Cole, I've seen photos of him at some of the weekends, conventions, and so on. What do you feel is your best way to get a customer for RxConnexion?
Lately, it's been the word of mouth. Most people, when we contact, or Cole, he's our director of marketing, and he's doing a fantastic job with us. And we also have Mason, Eric, and Sean that help us with other solutions like marketing, things like that. But Cole, I guess you can call your front man. That's the face that everybody associates. Nobody wants to look at me. I try to put my face on the top one.
I'm not including you. I know I've got a face for radio. You're a handsome devil, but I got to tell you, Cole's going to attract a little bit more than both of us.
Yeah, that's true. Cole's been with us for a few years now. He's doing a fantastic job. But the one thing that we've learned is the word of mouth. So when we sit down and let's say Cole and I, or Cole by himself, we do a demo for a pharmacy. And we show them me as a pharmacist. So if somebody says, that doesn't work that way, Cole's not a pharmacist, but he knows about pharmacy business. But you need somebody that knows a pharmacy business that says, no, this is not what you think it is. It's the other way. So when somebody listens to what we have, I haven't had too many people that say, I don't get it. I got it. Especially with our latest, which is our telemedicine program that we offer custom to the pharmacy. As of today, we're in all 50 states, and basically we give you custom telemedicine for your pharmacy. Anybody walking to the door, hey, Mike, what's good for my pink eye? What's good for earache? What's good for this? Can I get my GLP? Can I get my Viagra? Can I get the compounded medication? Can I get my HRT? Whatever ails you, including chronic care management, you are able to connect the patient to a provider. It could be on the spot, or it could be at home through a link, through an app that we provide to the pharmacy. That's all custom to the pharmacy. And then the patient does all the evaluation, and the pharmacy receives all the prescriptions and goes directly to the pharmacy. Think about that. I mean, it's just like having a doctor in your pharmacy that writes everything and anything, including compounded medication. for one fee, which is $39 per visit.
So Mehrdad, on your complete program, let's say that it was free. Pretend it was free. What do you think you would still hear from some pharmacies? What would be pharmacies' objection? I've got some people who have been on my show, and they might have a program, and they say, hey, Mike, let's just give this to you for free. You can try it in your pharmacy for 3 months. We were on your show and this or that. And I'm like, there's nothing free, because even if it was free, I've got to train my team. I've got to have my team griping about something because they don't understand something. And then there's confusion of this and that. And then morale goes down because of this or that. So if it was free, and I don't even know if it's true, but what's the excuse that people use, even if it were free?
I heard it this morning. I don't have time to train my staff. This is a great thing, but I don't have time.
All right, so Mehrdad, so you tell them, you say, you've got time. And then they say to you, well, here's really the reason. And I'm not saying you guys are not successful all the time. I'm just thinking of a company like yours. It always seems like there's something deeper. And I guess it's money and time. Sometimes it's trust, and that's where the word of mouth really comes in. It'd be interesting to know exactly what psychology was on each person's mind, because sometimes there's a bigger nut to crack, I imagine. You just don't know what it is. And I'm not saying that happens often, but it's just curious. How do you get through to people sometimes?
There is time, but I think what it is that, and again, I'm a pharmacist, no insult to the pharmacy or pharmacy profession. I love my profession. I want the success for every one of our independent pharmacy across the country. I'd like to be able to educate these pharmacists. Sometimes I get hands-on. I roll up my sleeve and I said, okay, man, let's set up a couple of calls. I want to show you how to do it. Now, how long did this take? 5 minutes. Okay, you don't have 5 minutes to do this, to market your pharmacy? Okay, I got it now. Or I say, why don't you use your technician? Why don't you use somebody else instead of standing there doing nothing? Why don't you just have them show them how to market? We'll educate your technicians how to do this kind of stuff.
So are you afraid of your wife now? When's your next retirement? Or do you enjoy this so much it's just going to keep going?
What drives me is getting up in the morning every day, coming to work at my office, knowing that I'm going to run across one guy that needs help. And it happens every day that either he has an issue, a problem, he has some pain points, and 90% of the time it's financial. I mean, we have pharmacies that are making 5 digits, close to 6-digit revenues every month from some of the solutions that we offer. I want everybody to be able to be successful. That's what drives me to work every day.
Finish this sentence if you can. Pharmacy went wrong by doing X or by not doing X back in the day. Or would you say it didn't do wrong? It's just competition.
My time goes back to when we had a roll of labels on a toilet paper dispenser.
Absolutely.
Screwed to the wall, and he goes into IBM typewriter.
Yeah,
okay?
Right.
Until like in the maybe late 70s, 79, 1980, we start having computers. I was in pre-med. I switched to pharmacy that summer when I got that job in this pharmacy in Lambertville, Michigan, because I saw the pharmacist. I saw that he was everything for his community. Everybody come and talk to him. He's the advisor. He's a doctor. He's a priest, is everything to everybody. So what went wrong, I think, is maybe, number one, I put the blame on our own shoulder as pharmacists, saying that, hey, man, when they came up to you in the mid-'80s and they say, hey, HMOs, cost plus $1. And, okay, $1 was a lot of money. I remember a pharmacy in Orlando, the name of the pharmacy was Dollar Pharmacy because everything was $1. Lasix, Digoxin, whatever, it's $1. They weren't thinking, okay, I'm giving away my professional expertise, my time, everything, my energy and everything for $1. That was kind of the start of it. And then as PBMs developed in the 90s, it starts getting worse where the PBM started dictating you where the patients have to go, how much you get paid. we just sat there as pharmacists looking at these PBMs. Okay, no problem. Express Script, no problem. Just whatever. AWP minus 35% plus 25 cents. Okay, no problem. I can handle that. We were instilled in our head back in the days that everything is about volume. You know what I'm saying? And nobody told us it's not about volume. It's about the quality. It's what you provide to the patient is what needs to make money. And that goes back to become a provider as a pharmacist. I mean, in how many states are we not a provider? Except Tennessee, for example, and maybe a handful of others. I mean, I can't bill an insurance company if I spend an hour with somebody educating about diabetes. Do I get paid? No. So that's where we started going wrong, I think, in my opinion, in the late 80s, 90s, and it just got exacerbated as we went on in the early 2000s, and the saga continues.
It seems to me that part of the problem back then is now with the internet, I think people can reach out. Maybe we could have put a foot down. You think about the mid 80s, and I suppose the state associations and different pharmacy groups or grassroots could have fought back against these people, but they come to you and they're kind of big and they already have the market share. I would have the same answer. It was just eroded. It's kind of the cliche of the frog in the pot. You know, you turn up the heat and it doesn't jump out. And I don't know how some professions have done it. It seems like dentists tell them to go to hell. I don't know.
And I'm not kind of a rebellious kind of a guy. I actually very peaceful. I think there's negotiation for everything in life, in business and everything else. But I think, not to get political, all the collusion that goes on in the Capitol, in DC, with pharmaceutical companies, PBMs, and things like that. And then we're caught in the middle.
I told a guy on our team, we were looking through, and Michigan was doing some legislation or something. And all of a sudden, this state rep shows up on my computer and he says how wonderful PBMs are. And I said to my guy, I said, go find out who his donors are. He emails me back from another room, 3 minutes later. He said, well, I got $1,000 from this place and $1,000 from that. And it's like, of course.
Like I said, I'm not a rebellious kind of guy. I'm not proposing anything, but what I would like to say is just imagine this. Let's just say if all independent pharmacies, and I know you're losing money anyways, most instances, close your doors for a couple of weeks. Just think about it. Do you think CVS, Walgreens, all these people will be able to absorb all the prescriptions that are going right to their pharmacy? They can't even fill the prescription that they have already. They're looking for pharmacists. They don't have the help. Now, overload them, and pharmacists, I'm going to lose my patient. You're not going to lose your patients. You're going to get the point across that, hey, look, you're paying us this much. And just imagine if everybody walked. And again, I'm not proposing anything. I'm just saying, imagine this. Look, I bought the damn insulin for $400. I'm selling it for $300. I lost $100. How many prescriptions do I have to fill to make $100? Okay. But they're like, that's okay, but you're making 50 cents on something else. No, that's not how it works, because they don't understand the pharmaceutical business.
My listeners hear about this ad nauseum, but we don't dispense brand names. I haven't dispensed an insulin in 3 or 4 years. It's like, screw it. I'm not doing that stuff for a loss. It's hard because a pharmacy like ours, like I've got 40 pharmacies within a 10-mile radius, and the PBMs don't give a damn if I'm there or not. I went on your website earlier. I like what you do of having the packages there, if I remember, right? The packages, the pricing, and all that kind of stuff.
Of course, yeah, sure. We are very transparent.
Some of these places are, well, call us and we're going to talk to you and bug you forever and things like that. You're putting your money where your mouth is as far as, let's do this. It's simple. Let's get going.
Well, I've had objections before. Oh, you're too cheap, man. You're not making enough money. I said, but you don't understand my mission. My mission is to help or save community pharmacies and let these guys survive. How many 2,400 stores shut down last year? Why? It didn't happen because of bad luck or mismanagement. These were great pharmacists. I knew some of these guys, and I knew their guys are great pharmacists. Why did they shut down? So My mission is not to take money away from you. I mean, it costs me something to run this program. I can't spend out of my own pocket. I'm just asking you to contribute to whatever it's costing us. You can call it, I don't want to make it too cliche, but it's like cost plus. You have this program. And some people say, why is this so cheap? Why is this so cheap? Because I don't have to pay anybody else. Our mission is to help you grow and thrive and be able to stay in business. And hopefully these DIR fees, all this garbage that happens in our profession will go away soon. And we go back to making pharmacy great again. That's a joke in the office.
Golly, Mehrdad, I appreciate you spending time with us. The listeners got to be looking at this stuff. Unless you're a stubborn, dull German like I am, if you're still doing stuff, if you're still doing these and you're not having a pity party like I am, I'd suggest, Mehrdad, at least people checking you out. I'm going to spell it out here. So it's RxConnexion with an X, 2 X's, RX, and then connection with an X. And I'm telling our listeners, I would suggest our listeners, just go on there and check it out. Mehrdad, thank you. I know you're busy, you got a lot of stuff going on. And so I appreciate you taking time out for us. And I know our listeners appreciate it too.
Hey, Mike, I really appreciate giving me the opportunity to be on your podcast. I know it's a big deal. I've had guests on my podcast, but mine's not as popular as you are. And I've been listening to your podcast for a long time. Seriously, I do listen to most of your podcasts because you bring in the little extra thing that can really, truly help any independent pharmacy. And that's really what I care about. So thank you, Mike.
Thanks, Mehrdad. I look forward to keeping in touch. You've been listening to the Business of Pharmacy podcast with me, your host, Mike Kelzer. Please subscribe for all future episodes.